All right, so let's kick things off and hand it over to Ashley.
Good morning or good afternoon, as Sam said to everyone. I love seeing a couple of you pop into the chat box to let me know where you're from. I popped mine in there just to say hi. I'm from Chicago, good old sunny Chicago. This is a big deal today that it is sunny out here and not snowing, so I'm so excited about that. As Sam mentioned, this is your Vivids Essentials class, and I'm just so happy to be here. I do have just a few slides on a PowerPoint that I wanted to show. I personally love visual aids, and I also know that everyone has a different type of learning style. We're not doing any sort of demonstrations today, but you will still be able to have a visual aid or you will hear the information. And again, as Sam mentioned, it is being recorded, but please, any questions? We have the next hour together, my loves, to just talk any and all things Pravana Vivids. I personally love me some Pravana Vivids. I'm going to share my screen really quickly just so I could get this pulled up. And then everyone just keep letting me know where you're from. Where's everyone tuning in from today on this beautiful Monday? I personally love Mondays. I really do. I don't know what it is about them, but I love them. So, okay. Also, someone give me a thumbs up. Let me know that you can definitely see my screen. It's got to be, the usual good old computer. Like, let me know that you could see what I'm talking about. Let me know that you see me, hear me, all that goodness. And then we can go on from there because I'm sharing my screen. All right, let's make sure. We also have some people just joining us now, so I have to add them in. Give me a moment here. Okay, beautiful. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thanks, Kathleen. Okay, beautiful. So I'm going to leave my chat just right here. So as mentioned, this is Pravana Vivids Essentials. So you don't have to necessarily put this in the chat box. We don't have to make it like that, but I do want to know, kicking this off, who does use Pravana? What are you using in Vivids? What kind of questions do you have? This is the place that you want to ask them, like 100% for sure. I have been with Pravana for a very, very long time. I know all the goodness about it, all the ins and outs. So I'm happy to share all of my knowledge about it with all of you today. And just to kick it off, you might want to know, who is this educator? So my name is Ashley Krupa-Berg. I am one of Pravana's global creative artists. I have been a stylist for 17 years. I do any and all things color as well as any and all things bridal. So I'm one of those people in this industry that loves weddings. I do hair, I do makeup, I do day of coordination or even event planning. And I just love me some brides. I don't really get bridezillas. I'm very fortunate in that matter in this industry, but I really, really love any and all things beauty related. And a fun fact about me is that I love singing Disney songs when I go karaoke. So let me know if I have any fellow Disney fans out there. If you would like to give me a follow on Instagram, my Instagram handle is thegirl_with purple hair. I always joke around that to date, one of my biggest accomplishments is that I have had the same hair color for well over a decade, which is very impressive for hairstylists because you all know how we do, okay? We do not keep the same thing. We change our hair color with the wind. We do something on a client and then we're like, I'm going to put that on my head. But it's a little dark because I just refreshed it. But I always, always have purple hair. I look super weird without it. And I'm probably going to be, that 90-year-old grandma who also has purple hair. We at Pravana have a promise. It is our promise to all of you, but it also goes just beyond the hairstylist. It also goes with all the people who sit in your chair and who you come in contact with. So our promise is to empower everyday stylists by providing them with superior products, unprecedented and unmatched in value that will enhance their professional and their personal lives. So anything you see out there in the world that has the Pravana logo on it, you know that it is tested, tried and true. It means that we love it. We stand behind it. We came up with it. We were like, okay, this works. Let's test it out. Let's try it 4 more times to make sure that we love it. We want to put out really great products for all of you to use behind the chair. So that way you just feel confident every day going into work and creating some beautiful hair out there. We also stand upon 4 pillars as a company, which is also really important. It's not necessarily something you have to share with your clients, but if you are a Pravana user, it's really good to know the background of a company that you use and what we stand for. One thing we don't have on here that's one of my personal favorites is that we are PETA certified. We don't do any sort of animal testing. There's no little bunnies running around with cute, vivid mohawks. We leave them alone. We don't do any animal testing on them. And PETA was like, yep, we approve that for you. So that is one of my favorite things that I always tell all of my stylists. But the 4 pillars that we stand upon are empowerment, disruption. We are definitely aspirational, and we are all about connection. So when I talk about empowerment, we definitely talk about lifting our stylist community in everything we do, including education. So snaps and kudos to all of you on here, because even though it's only an hour, you're still taking that time out of your day to never stop being the student and learning. And I commend you so much for that, because it's important. Our industry is something that changes every 5 minutes, I swear. So you being here just means you're that much more serious about enhancing your skills behind the chair. We also include business. We have business support, product innovation, and more while challenging the norm. So a lot of things about Pravana is that we never have it because someone else has it. We want to have it because we are our own company, which leads me to disruption. So we have high performance, affordable product, unprecedented and unmatched in value. We are aspirational, so we're always going to create the looks and styles that you want to use behind the chair. So this way we make them, next level, but also easy enough for you to replicate. And then connection. We definitely love to always stay connected with everyone. Social media is something that is so huge in the world, not just in our industry, but in the world. And we at Pravana like to make sure that we are accessible to stay connected with all of you. And obviously, you're all very good about connection as well, because you saw that there was a class today. So you're already 10 steps ahead. Okay. And then the last thing, just to tell you, oh, not that one. Let's go back one slide. We have this brand new loyalty program called Pravana Perks that I love introducing to everyone, because if you're out there buying Pravana all the time, we want to say thank you with really cool presents. And it's not just things that are like a Pravana color bowl or a cape, although we love that. You could earn like a TV, an iPad. There's tons of things on there. So no matter where you shop, you can go on there and you can put in your account numbers. And every time you buy Pravana, you are stocking up those points, getting you some goodness out there. So Pravana Perks is what it's all about. Some of the key things about Pravana that set us aside from other people is that we have 3-ounce or 86-gram tubes of color. Our mixing ratio, but not for Vivids, is 1 to 1.5. So you get a little more working product with the developer. We do measure in grams, not ounces, because grams gives you the most accurate amount when you are measuring. It's just truly the most accurate amount or accurate way of measuring. You get access to ongoing digital education. We have, of course, our amazing Pravana.com website where you can get so much education, your head will explode. And then we have this Pravana Perks. So if you have any questions, please put it in the chat. We also have one of our most amazing people ever from Pravana, Miss Kathleen, is on here. I'm sure you always see her on the forum. Kathleen is on here. So if I don't have an answer, I know Kathleen will have that answer. So please, again, ask any and all questions that you have, because no questions means no answers. And I love sharing all of the information with all of you. All right. So let's go to the next slide. This right here is a snapshot of all the colors that we offer within Pravana. Now, there's only 2 types of colors that we're talking about today. So this second box that you see right here, this is called ChromaSilk VIVIDS Everlasting. This is a permanent Vivids that is mixed with developer. So this falls in our permanent color category. So we're going to talk about this one. Then we're also going to talk about ChromaSilk VIVIDS, which is our semi-permanent color that is never mixed with developer. It always goes on pre-lightened hair. So when we are teaching anything about Vivids, the first step to any and all Vivid services is to pre-lighten the hair. Even if this client comes in and their hair is the most perfect blonde for the color that I need to put on it, we strongly recommend that you go in with our Pure Light Power Lightener and our Zero Lift Developer. It's mixed in a 1-to-3 ratio, and you put it on that area in the hair that you plan on putting your Vivids on. All it has to do is sit 5, maybe 10 minutes, even if it's the most perfect blonde and you're looking to put, your color on. When you put the lightener on there, you'll see right here on these images of what a hair strand looks like. So this one right here is what the hair looks like prior to a lightener application. So you have positive and negative charges. After you pre-lighten the hair, you take away those positive charges and cause negative charges in the hair. Now, the vivids are what are known as cationic dyes. Cationic dyes means that they are made with a positive charge. The hair now has a negative charge on it from the lightener, and when they meet, they cling together like a magnet, hence why our vivids should always go on pre-lightened hair. So the first step to any and all vivid service, no matter what color you're using, is to go in and pre-lighten the hair. And again, it's just for maybe 5 to 10 minutes. Now, if I'm going to tell you that you have to lighten the hair, I definitely also want to tell you about what your lightener options are. So one of our OG lighteners, this one has been with us since the beginning of time. Pravana, we just turned 21 this year, so happy birthday to Pravana. We're so excited to celebrate it. And this lightener has been with us since the very beginning. So Pure Light Power Lightener is our blue violet based lightener that can give you up to 7 levels of lift. You can use it for rapid lightening, foil or open air, and also on and off scalp application. On scalp, we always recommend up to 20 volume. Off scalp, if it's safe, you can use technically all the way up to 40 volume with the lightener. The mixing ratio for this is 1 part lightener to 3 parts of your chosen developer. And what's great about this is stylists all over the world move at different paces, and we totally understand that. So if you're a newer stylist or even a stylist who's been doing hair for a while and you like to have a little bit more control over your lightening, this is typically the go-to lightener I would recommend for my stylists who want to have a little bit more control. It's not that the lightener doesn't lift fast, but this one is only designated to give you up to 7 levels of lift. So it does not lift as much as the other lighteners. So if you were going in and you're trying to pre-lighten someone, especially if they're already at a great level, this would be the one that I recommend. You can go in with our zero lift developer and mix it 1 part lightener to 3 parts of zero lift developer and go ahead, make sure the hair is dry. We never put our lighteners under the dryer. They are just formulated for room temperature processing only, and they give even controlled lift for up to 55 minutes. So you get a really long time with the lightener. Let's say you have someone come in who you need to lift up to the appropriate level. This is also a great lightener to go to for that as well. But then we also make our Pure Light Ultra Lightener. So this one is also on or off scalp application. It's definitely geared more towards global blonding, or if more platinum results are desired. It can give you up to 9 levels of lift, and it is proven to leave the hair smoother and shinier. So in this upper right-hand corner, you will see something that says Reunite Mending Technology. That is something that is very specific just to Pravana. So we at Pravana, again, as I mentioned earlier, we never come up with something just because someone else has it. We want to say, no, ours is set apart because we have this. So this Reunite Mending Technology is exactly that. So what it is a bond builder that we have mixed in with the lightener. So as you are lightening the hair and lifting it, what happens naturally, organically, is you are breaking the bonds in the hair. So what the Reunite Mending Technology is doing is rapidly repairing those bonds as they're breaking, which is helping the hair come out stronger, healthier, shinier, even after you've done a lightening service, which I know is just like, how could that happen? But I promise you, it happens. It's absolutely amazing. I love this lightener. It is absolutely one of my go-tos all the time. The mixing ratio for Ultra Lightener is 1 part lightener to 2 parts of your chosen developer. And again, you can mix any of our lighteners with our zero lift developer. That one is typically used for any of our demi-permanent options, but it is also safe to mix with our lighteners as well. And a lot of times when we have stylists who talk about maybe doing full foils, or you're doing a balayage and you have to know, okay, maybe your client is light enough and you can get away with using a 10 volume or maybe a little bit of 20. If you're starting at the nape of the neck, and working up the back of the head and moving towards the front, you can get away with using 0 lift back here. And then maybe you bump it all the way up to 20 when you get to the top. And I promise you, they will catch up to each other. 0 lift is a force to be reckoned with. It is amazing and definitely underutilized. Everyone knows out there, I'm sure you know, low and slow. My team and I, especially we're on stage, we like to do a little dance and we sing it how low and slow, that is the tempo. So that is the tempo that we set for ourselves. It's not a race to see how fast we can lighten the hair. We want to make sure that we're always keeping the integrity of the hair at the top of mind, no matter what our clients want. We can definitely try to get them there, but I always tell my clients, I like for you to leave with some hair on your head today. So even if they want very, very blonde hair, this is an absolutely amazing lightener to go to. And I would love it if all of you try it with 0 lifts if you haven't already. If you have, this is going to be one of those moments where I'm like, pop in the chat and tell people that I'm not crazy and losing my mind because you've tried it and you know that it's great. This one is also a processing time of up to 55 minutes, and it's formulated for room temperature processing only, as all of them are. Any questions so far? Any questions about anything at all? I keep checking the chat to make sure I'm not missing anything. If you have anything, keep typing it in or keep thinking of these questions. We have one other lightener that I have to absolutely tell you all about. It is my most favorite of all the lighteners we've ever had. It's our Pure Light Blonding Cream. And so the one, we don't want to skip that. The thing that I love about this is how the hair feels after you're done using it. I love all of our lighteners, and I love that we have 3 different options because weekly I use them interchangeably. I have certain clients, I just had 3 blonde touch-ups yesterday in my salon. One of them gets it with ultra lightener and the other 2 got them with blonding cream and 20 volume. It's amazing if your client tends to have a more sensitive scalp, and it's really, really great if their hair, as we like to say, is a little more pre-loved, maybe it needs a little extra hug. So if you go in with the Pure Light Blonding Cream, it's just absolutely amazing for hair that we want to make sure we are taking that extra step to maintain the integrity of it. So this one is also on or off scalp application. Global blonding or more platinum results are desired, up to 9 levels of lift as well, and it maintains the healthy looking hair. Now, because it's a cream, one of the things I love to stress is that there is no oily residue left behind at all. You don't have to wash with a certain type of water. You don't have to squeegee it out of the hair. You don't have to use a bunch of clarifying shampoo. One wash, one shampoo, and it's out. There's no residue left behind, which is awesome. We love that. As always, processing time is up to 55 minutes, room temperature processing only. And the thing about all of our lighteners, what's good to know about them is they all have this 55-minute processing time, right? That 55 minutes only starts once you've actually mixed the lightener and the developer together. So I am a big fan behind the chair of having multiple fresh bowls of lightener to work with. I don't like to mix one giant batch. It's personal preference, but also if I mix a giant batch of lightener and I'm trying to use it on the whole head, what if it takes me, 40 minutes to get to the top of the head? Now I only have 15 minutes left of that lifting power and I might need that full 55. So I would recommend, as a pro tip, and as someone who has used Pravana forever and ever, amen, I would definitely recommend that you go in and use multiple smaller batches of lightener that you can have pre-measured out for you, obviously measuring in grams because it's the best. Who out there uses a scale? You could raise your hand. You don't even have to tell me in the chat if you don't want to, but raise your hand loud and proud if you use a scale, because we are a weighted color line and we measure in grams. It just gives you the most consistent, best results ever using a scale. So if you use a scale, thank you. If you don't use a scale yet, I would love for you to go out there and get a scale. Okay. Next up, let me close out of here. Okay. So now we're going to move into talking about our vivids, our semi-permanent vivids. And the first thing that we're going to talk about is how to read the label, because it's obviously very important. So every single color that comes in the Vivids is always going to have, of course, the name written across it. The label is also colored, the color that's in the tube. So that helps you kind of look at it and find it a little easier. But most importantly, I love this. We made this change several years ago. You're always going to see 4 numbers on the very front of the label: 7, 8, 9, and 10. Any number that you see that has a white circle around it, that is always going to be the level that you lift the hair to in order to get that exact color that's in the tube. So if you're showing your client the swatch book and you're showing them the Vivids and they're like, they're looking at violet and they're like, oh, I love the violet. Our violet, you only have to lift the hair to a level 7. So at a level 7, it has a lot of orange and yellow undertones to it. That's totally fine. We leave those very warm undertones there, and we consider those to be our anchoring sites. So what happens is those Vivids will hold on to those colors that you leave in the hair as the undertone in a level 7, and that's how light you have to lift the hair. If you choose to lift the hair beyond what we recommend, you can totally do that, but just know that you'll get a brighter, maybe more neon version of the color than you're expecting or that your client wanted. So it's just something to keep in mind, because not all clients are fine with it being a little bit brighter. Some of them are, some of them might just want exactly the color that they see. What else I want to show you about this is right over here on the side. Natural level at a 7, we consider that to be a blonde. At an 8, we consider that to be light blonde. 9 is very light blonde, and 10 is ultra light blonde. So the darker shades, like the ones that I have to put on a level 7, give me a little more room, where if I lifted the hair all the way up to a 9 or maybe even a 10, I could absolutely get away with it. I'll just have a very bright neon purple, which, hey, I'm totally fine with that. But what you can't do is expect to take something that's supposed to be lifted to a level 10, because at a level 10, we're at our ultra light blonde. So there's barely any yellow pigment left in the hair, but there's still some. I can't use a level 10 Vivids on anything below a level 10. So it's really important, if you have a client coming in who thinks that they would like to have something that's meant for the lighter levels, there's a couple options that you can do. One, you can absolutely try to pre-lighten their hair, try to get them there, and explain to them, your hair might have to go through a little bit of a process to get there, but just know I'm doing my best to get it there. Another great idea is coloring and customizing extensions for them. Some clients, I personally have some myself, I know that this week they want Vivids, but in 2 weeks, they might not want those Vivids anymore. So I customize tape-in extensions, clip-in extensions all the time, especially for little girls. I can't tell you how many times I'll be in the grocery store or shopping or something, and I can hear a little girl being like, Mommy, her hair's purple. And I'm always like, oh gosh, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean it. But it's just a fun way to give someone what they want, and the maintenance of that could be a little bit lower for them. It might be a little more cost effective for them, but it also gives you the chance to really show off your skills and offer them different options. So, hey, if you want to come in, sit through the process of pre-lightening, putting the color on, that's an option. If their hair can't or won't go all the way up that high, up the level of lightness, then there are other options that you can do as well, like customizing extensions for them. I just have to chew gum because my mouth is getting dry. I get so excited when I start talking. Okay, in terms of reading the label, are there any questions on Vivids? Any questions at all? Most importantly, I know I mentioned it earlier, but just to reiterate, whenever you are using Vivids, the first step is to pre-lighten the hair. Next step, I wash the hair. You could lightly condition it just so you could brush through it a little bit better. The hair should always be completely dry prior to putting your Vivids on. And you definitely never mix your Vivids with developer. No matter what you read, what you hear, what someone else tried, I am promising you, manufacturer's guidelines is that you never mix Vivids with developer. It's straight out of the tube into the bowl and then applied with a bowl and brush. Now, when you are applying your Vivids, we have a rule that we always teach in our Vivids classes. It's called the 3-inch rule. Some of you may have heard it before, some of you may have not, but it will change the way you apply your Vivids in the most amazing way. And it's such a simple thing. So what you do is you take your brush, dip it in your color bowl, go to the hair, apply down 3 inches, resaturate your brush and apply down another 3 inches. What this does is helps to give you and ensure perfect and very even saturation on the hair. You don't want to leave any holes. You don't want to have any little holidays, as we like to call them sometimes. If you follow the 3-inch rule, you will have perfect coverage from base to ends every single time. And your sections should be small enough that you could watch a TikTok through them. So very thin sections, being able to see your hand behind it. The thinner the section, the more even the saturation can be, and the more longevity you'll get out of your Vivids. Vivids is definitely not something that you can just kind of, you know, drizzle on and smoosh into the hair. You know, sometimes when we're doing a toner and we're trying to get it going, I personally love to tone at the chair. I have way more control over the hair. I know it's a few extra steps, but I just like being very in control of the hair at all times. Vivids, you can't ever do that. You always should take them back to the chair because you have to dry the hair completely before you put it on. And then apply it down in 3 inches, resaturate your brush and apply down another 3 inches. And what's beautiful about Vivids is once you have it all applied on the hair, if it's from base to ends or mid strands to ends, wherever you're applying it, you also have the ability to take our amazing tools that are always attached to us, go in and just work that color into the hair. You can't overwork it, which is one of my personal favorite things about Pravana Vivids is that I could go in, I can work in the color, I can mix them together, or I can go in there and just give myself that extra little security blanket knowing that I really fully saturated the hair wherever I place the Vivids. So stopping there for just a quick moment, I would love it. A couple of you pop it in the chat. How does all of this sound? Is this making total sense? Are these things you're already trying? Does anyone else have any tips or tricks that they love to offer? I know we're not on camera, but also just learning from your fellow stylist about what they do sometimes can work wonders. The 3-inch rule is tried and true. We teach it in every class, and it goes beyond Vivids too. When you're applying your Hydro Gloss toner or your ChromaSilk Express tones or even your ChromaSilk permanent color, you can use the 3-inch rule with everything. Oh, beautiful. You're happy with all the tips so far. Thank you so much. That makes me so happy. I appreciate that. There's always a few extra tips we can always keep in our back pocket, right? Whenever we're doing hair. So do you apply Vivids wet or dry? You always want to apply your Vivids on completely dry hair. So it's pre-lightened, it's washed, and it is completely dry. And then you apply your Vivids. Great question. Any other? Okay, our next question is, do you like to send your clients home with the Vivid mixed with conditioner for a color refresh? Excellent idea. It is super great customizing an at-home color conditioner. Absolutely, you can do that, Nicole. We actually just launched our brand new care line, which is the best thing we have ever created in terms of our care line. It's so good. This is just a shameless plug to pay homage to our brand new care line that just launched. If you haven't tried it yet, please run and get it right now. But just to tell you a little bit more about it, let's say you did have someone, Nicole, who wanted to come in and they had violet and they really wanted to do it. All of our brand new shampoos and conditioners from our care line are color safe, which means that if they want volume in their hair, we have volume vibrance. If they need a little bit extra care and repair, we have repair radiance. If they're looking for just an everyday shampoo, we have moisture marvel. They can use that. The other two, I would not customize one of them. The other one is a purple shampoo. And then the other brand new one is a clarifying shampoo. So we don't want to send them home with that. But they could choose from volume, repair, or moisture. Absolutely amazing. And then just letting them know how to use that conditioner would be great. But that's a great idea as well. I'm sure some of you have done that as well. Any other questions or anything to talk about before we move on? I love it. I love hearing from all of you. It's super great. I'll leave this open just in case. Okay. So I'm going to go to the next slide just to talk to you about some of the other options we offer within Vivids. So we have two different types of clear that you can mix in with your Vivids when you're trying to dilute them. We make a clear dilute and a clear pastel. This visual aid right here, chef's kiss. I love it. It just is the perfect depiction of exactly how to use your Vivids clear or your Vivids dilute. So the very first color is straight magenta on its own. The middle, as you can read, has 20 grams of clear dilute and 1 gram of magenta. So you can see just side by side what a difference it already is. Then when you go to the last column, 20 grams of clear pastel and 1 gram of magenta is what this one turns out to be. So sometimes I like to take it a step further and give you another visual aid. So if you were to need a color diluted, clear dilute would be like adding food coloring into water. And clear pastel would be like adding food coloring into milk. So one gives you a more pasteled, very like translucent type of feel and look. And then the clear dilute gives you that brighter but diluted version of the original color. Okay, I just saw something in the chat pop up. Oh, great visual. Thank you, Ashley. I agree. It's one of my most favorites. Again, us as stylists, we are visual people. I want to see it. If I'm in person, I want to smell it because we are all about the smell, are we not? If we go to the store and we see something, what's the first thing we do? Like, "Oh, how does it smell?" Like, I don't know if it works well, but it smells great, so I'm going to use it. So this visual aid that our marketing team created is so good because it just shows you that picture. And then, you know, I'm discovering along the way, which is always impressive to me. Sometimes I'll ask in my classes, like, oh, who in here loves to drink coffee? There are people in the world who don't. There are people in the world who don't drink coffee, and I want to know their secret. I really do. But I usually joke around and say, if you need to add it into your almond milk or add it into your oat milk or your half and half or your 2% milk, whatever you're adding it into, that's going to be the effect of the clear pastel. And then adding it into your water would be your clear dilute. So it works amazing. The other tip about using clear dilute or clear pastel, biggest takeaway from this is if you are using it, make sure that you're putting the clear into the bowl first and then slowly, and I mean slowly, my loves, adding in a little bit of color, mixing it up, and always have a white paper towel or a white piece of Kleenex. You could use like a regular towel that you would use for someone's hair, but I just like to use a paper towel. This way I just crumble it up and throw it away. But having like a white piece of paper, anything white to test the color on and make sure that it's good for you and good for your client before you move on. The reason you want to put the clear first is because the Vivids are very potent and very pigmented. So if you add in too much color and then put in your clear, you're going to end up throwing that whole batch away. So you slowly customize with the clear by slowly adding in the color. Okay, we have another question. If a client wants neon pink, but you don't have it, can you use the clear dilute to make that color? Excellent question. We do make a neon pink. I have noticed that it's been sold out quite a bit for a while because it's definitely one of our top sellers, but this absolutely could get you there. If I'm going to be honest with you, because I'm going to be, because why would I lie? Stylist to stylist, it's still not exactly the true neon pink that we make because it won't have that super bright neon effect, but you will still absolutely get so close that probably you might know, but your client wouldn't realize that difference that's there. But you can absolutely get away with using magenta and clear dilute to achieve the neon pink. Absolutely. Great question. And let me know if that answers it for you, Nicole, or if you need any more explanation. Any other questions on clear dilute or clear pastel? The beauty of Vivids is that they are all intermixable with each other. So you can make rainbow colors, you can mix a bunch of colors in a bowl and see what you get. The other thing about Vivids to make them that much more customizable is besides diluting them to lighten them, we also make black additive. Okay, perfect. I answered your question. You're very welcome. We also make a black additive. So if you are trying to deepen or darken a color or kind of smoke it out a little bit, we have the black additive. And also with that one, a very little bit goes a long way. So for the clear dilute or clear pastel, we add in the clear first, then we slowly add in our color. When we're working with our black additive, we add in all of our color first, and then we slowly, dot by dot, add in our black additive. Again, mixing it every time we add it in, trying it out on the paper towel. It's actually usually really fun to watch the progression of the different colors that you can make. Sometimes I just like to stare at the paper towel that I do it on just for like a fun visual aid. Or, I work in a salon suite, so my clients always see me mixing and they're always just like, you are such a chemist. And to us, we're just doing our job. We're having fun with it, but we're like, yeah, it's just science. Like I'm just doing science. But I think it's always really fun for a client to see us mixing it and coming up with the formulation and then seeing it come to life. And then we get excited. And then in turn, they get excited. And now we're all excited and everyone has beautiful hair. It's just so great. I love the beauty industry. I don't know where I would be if I wasn't in the beauty industry. That's a whole other class. But do any of you ever just sit there and wonder, like, how could I do anything else? Why would I do anything else? What else could I do? I don't know. Maybe these are just thoughts that wake me up in the middle of the night. I don't know. Okay. So I don't know if this is going to want to change. Okay. So I kept this slide in here before we talk about the Vivids Everlasting. We're doing great on time. So before we talk about Vivids Everlasting, something that we always love to talk about in all of our classes is the 5 essential steps to successful hair coloring. So within Pravana, we are huge about making sure that you do client consultations. No matter how long you have had a client in your chair for, never stop having a consultation with them. Even if the consultation is as quick as 1, 2, 3, like, hey staff, welcome in today. Are we doing your usual? Yeah, we're doing my usual. Okay, sounds great. Guess what? That constitutes as your consultation with your client. Now, if they're newer or they've been around kind of for a little bit, but you know that they're looking to change their hair, we have these 5 steps that you follow to always ensure that you get the exact color they're looking for. Now, for those of you on here, you can let me know, how do you feel about inspiration photos? I get a lot of yays and nays about inspo photos. The yays are, yes, I love when a client comes in and knows what they want and knows how to explain to me what they want or can show me in a picture, hey, I really like, this shade, this tone that they have going on. It's really easy for them to look at a picture and see what they like. We look at it with a different set of eyes, though. We're looking at the very first step. Where am I starting? Where am I going? So, what do they have on their hair? What is their hair capable of? A lot of times we like to talk about maybe under promise, over deliver when it comes to hair, but especially when it comes to Vivids, which is why I left this in here, having a very, very thorough consultation and asking kind of the same questions repeatedly is very important. Personal experience, I always have Vivids. My Vivids is always fresh. I will not let my hair fade. So a lot of times when clients think they want Vivids, they'll compare it to mine and say, well, yours always looks great. Yours always looks fresh. Well, right, because I maintain it to be that way. Do you have the time? Do you have the commitment available and the willingness available to sit here and be committed to a Vivids? So whenever you're doing any sort of consultation, no matter if it's blonding, color glaze, low lights, highlights, great coverage, we're always going to ask ourselves all these questions. Where am I starting? Where am I going? How far do I have to go to get there? Are there any obstacles in my way? And how do I address those obstacles? So these are all super important things. Specifically, when it comes to Vivids, I'm not kidding you. Ask them if they have different bosses at work and how their different bosses feel about them having Vivids. Some bosses might be like, yeah, I think that's cool. And other bosses might be like, no, you need to get rid of that. I got a yes, inspo helps. So I am with you on that. I believe is your name Elisma. Beautiful. I love that, Elisma. I love inspo photos. I absolutely love them, especially being in the bridal world. I get a lot of, bridesmaids or even brides who, of course, have an inspo photo. And I have learned to be really good about communicating with them. Hey, when you're looking up inspo photos, make sure you're typing in the same type of hair color that you have. We all know a blonde updo doesn't look the same on someone who's a brunette. So having inspo helps a lot. When it comes to Vivids, they can definitely have inspo photos available, but we also have to walk them through how it's going to fade, what that means for when it does fade, when they're going to come back in, how long can they expect to get out of the color. Are they going on vacation? Do they plan on jumping into the ocean? Are they going to be out in the sun a lot? Do they have a pool in their backyard? I mean, it's all the questions that to them might seem like, wow, this is a lot of questions. But at the end of the day, if their color isn't lasting, it could be a misstep that we took by not thinking of all the factors that go into a vivid. So it's a lot. It's definitely a lot. Having vivids in the hair is a very, very serious relationship that they have to be ready to commit to. So that is my fun spiel on vivids. So before I think this was actually the last one before that. Yes. So I don't have the slide necessarily for Vivids Everlasting, but I can obviously still talk to you about it. I just want to go back to the slide that has the box, so we have it as a reference point. So Vivids Everlasting has Vivids in the name, but please remember that Vivids Everlasting is 100% a permanent hair color option. The reason we came out with it many years ago was to help bridge the gap between our permanent line and our semi-permanent line. So we had people constantly inquiring and our stylist asking, okay, if I'm using a violet-based color and I really want to enhance the violet in it, can I just mix in my violet vivids in with my color? The answer was always no. Some people would try it and say, oh, it didn't even work. The vivids, the traditional vivids are semi-permanent. The regular ChromaSilk cream hair color is permanent. It's oxidative. It's a totally different chemistry makeup between the two. So by adding in the vivids to a permanent color, excuse me, all it did was eat through the permanent color, or it ate through the vivids and it didn't do anything. So with that in mind, what Pravana said we could do, okay, perfect. Let's bridge the gap. Let's come up with something that gives a vivids-like effect, but is permanent. So the beautiful thing about that is our Vivids Everlasting was born, and it is some of the best color I have ever used in my life. So I would love to know in the chat, for those of you out there who are using Vivids Everlasting, have you tried it? What's your favorite? How do you use it? We have several colors that we offer. We make a scarlet red, a mystic magenta, a poison berry, and then a pastel potion. So the beauty of the pastel potion is that it's essentially a clear to dilute your tones. So what I can do is and I'm sorry, we also make violet rain. How could I forget a violet? How sad. I didn't mean to forget my violet rain. So scarlet red, mystic magenta, poison berry, violet rain, and pastel potion. So the Vivids Everlasting can be utilized in two different ways. One way is to still go in, pre-lighten the hair, wash it, dry it completely. Then I take my Vivids Everlasting formula, whichever one I want. Let's say I want really bright red. We have the red Vivids, which is semi-permanent. Or I have my scarlet red Vivids Everlasting, which is permanent. So if I pre-lighten the hair, let's say a level 7 or a level 8, I would mix my Vivids Everlasting 1 part color to 1.5 parts, either 10 volume or 20 volume if I want a little extra brighter pop of color. Mix it 1 to 1.5, process it on the hair for 30 to 45 minutes. Now, the other beautiful, beautiful thing about this is Vivids Everlasting can be intermixed with other Vivids Everlasting, or, I know you're ready for it, it can be intermixed with our ChromaSilk cream hair color. So you can utilize it as a color booster or an enhancement or an additive in your other traditional ChromaSilk cream hair colors. Okay, Ashley said, I've only ever used the Violet Rain. I thought it was very pretty and vibrant. Amazing. Violet Rain, I will tell you, is very dark. So it takes a little bit of manipulation. One of my most favorite ways to mix Violet Rain to get the most beautiful tone. So in grams, I need 30 grams of color and 45 grams of developer. I'm going to give you all one of my secret recipes of the most beautiful violet tone if you're ready for it. I take 25 grams of 9.7, which is a level 9 100% violet tone from the Permanent series. And I mix it with 5 grams, only 5 grams of Violet Rain with 10 volume. So absolutely beautiful. And what I love about it is in our Violet series, we have as dark as a level 5. So we have a 5.7, but then a few years back, we added in a level 7 and a level 9 and a level 10. So we have 5.7, 7.7, 9.7, and then we have a 10.07 or 10.72, I'm sorry. So the ratio of having more of the permanent color to just a little bit of the Violet Rain, you will be astounded when you see how strong that little bit of that 5 grams will do for your color. But I have a client, she's in every 3 weeks. She lives for her purple hair. Her hair is very short, and her signature color, we call it the Jen, because her name is Jennifer. We call it the Jen. She gets that. So it's 25 grams of 9.7, 5 grams of the Violet Rain mixed with 10 volume. So beautiful. We love it. It's super bright and vibrant. And if she wanted just the Violet Rain on its own, 100%, I could totally do that. But we like hers to be a lot more vibrant. So the thing with the Vivids Everlasting is you yourself as a stylist, you do kind of have to play around with it. Don't be afraid to swatch. I don't know if any of you out there do already, but swatching over the last several years has become one of my personal favorite things to do. Yes, it's a little extra step. Yes, it does require you to use some product that you're not putting on a client. But if you are mixing a swatch, I will tell you, 8 grams of color and 12 grams of developer is all you need. So if you had a color that you were trying to try out, that you were really looking to try out, just 8 grams of color, 12 grams of developer, try a little bit of it, mix it in the bowl, and put it on your swatch. You can have so much fun and create so many custom colors with the Vivids Everlasting by being able to mix them in with your ChromaSilk permanent cream hair color. So I think when it first launched, some of the most popular tones were the 5.22 or even maybe the 8.22. If you mix that, those are very intense beige tones. So they have a blue violet undertone. So some of our stylists were intermixing a little bit of Mystic Magenta, and they were creating a very dusty, kind of smoky rose mauve kind of color. It's so fun and it's permanent. So customizing a very fun, vivid-like effect in a hair color, but making it permanent only makes you that much more the hero for your client and for you. And you just get to create so many colors and have so much fun. So for those of you who haven't tried Vivids Everlasting, please do. It's just amazing. It's one of my most personal favorites we've ever had in the entire line. And the options of mixing things together are absolutely amazing. The other fun thing that I know we haven't addressed yet is with Vivids, you never mix your Vivids in with the ChromaSilk cream hair color. We just don't do that. We don't mix those in. But what you can do is what we call a Vivids overlay. So let's say I go in and I'll give you another one of my examples. I have a client who comes in, loves bright red hair. We do equal parts of Mystic Magenta and Scarlet Red with 20 volume on her hair. After it's done and I've washed it and dried it completely, I go in and do an overlay with a straight Vivids color. So what this does is adds in tons of shine, but it enhances the color a little bit. Now, it's not meant to stay in her hair like a Vivids would. It's not meant to give a Vivids, brightness like it would if it was freshly pre-lightened, but it will and does for sure change the tone that's in her hair. So it's equal parts, again, Scarlet Red, Mystic Magenta 20 volume. Lift it up. It's absolutely beautiful. Then once it's completely dry, I'll go in and I'll do my Vivids overlay where I just put straight Vivids over the color. And you could do that on any hair color. Obviously, as long as it makes sense. You know, you don't want to try to put a vivid tone on top of something that it won't really pick up. But when the summer's coming around and, maybe people are wanting to warm up their hair a little bit, or maybe they just want to try out something. Maybe they're going on vacation. They just want to have a little bit of fun. Do a Vivids overlay on their hair. Maybe you ran out of toner. Maybe they have you have a copper client or a red copper client and they come in and for some reason you ran out of toner, but you have Vivids. These are all just hypothetical situations, but you never know. Again, we are the chemists, we are the ones in control. You can use the Vivids mixed in because you learned how to use your clear dilute, your clear pastel, or even your black additive. You can customize it and come up with a way to refresh their hair, even with Vivids. So one of the best things about Pravana that I have personally always loved about it and still love about it to this day is how versatile it is. So I personally am a suite owner. So I own a double suite. So my room is fairly big until it feels like it's not big enough, but I have plenty of room for backstock within Pravana. Obviously, yes, I work for them, but if all of you went out and bought every single tube of color off the shelf right now, I would not make any commission on that. So I'm not here to be a salesperson. I'm here to tell you from one stylist to another, from one friend over here in Chicago to all my new friends from all over the world who joined me today. I'm just here to teach you any and all things about Pravana, how you can use it, how you can feel more comfortable and just confident when you're behind the chair. So with these last few minutes, I just want to open up the floor and see if there are any pressing questions that we didn't get to that I didn't answer, or if anyone wants to share like an aha moment or something they want to try. I always love to get some feedback from a class just to see, maybe there's something I have to make sure we talk about in the future, all those kinds of things. So let me know in the chat if there's anything at all. I loved being here today. Fun fact, was not the initial educator who had the honor of teaching this, but my amazing friend Steph was just not feeling up to it today. She's a little bit under the weather, so they asked me to step in, and of course, with bells on, I did. So I got to be here and meet all of you. That is all I have in terms of your Vivids essentials, but remember today we talked about the first step of how to get Vivids into the hair. We talked about how we apply it, all the do's and don'ts for it. We talked about Vivids Everlasting, the do's and don'ts for that. And really, that is all I have for you. So if nobody else has any other questions or comments, Ashley, you're very welcome. All of you are very welcome for being here. Again, I want to take time, excuse me, time to thank each and every one of you for enhancing your education just that much more, even if it was just an hour. I really am passionate about never stop being the student. Even if you've learned one new thing today, I did my job, which all of you learned who I am today. You learned my name, or you learned that I love Disney songs. But I do hope that you also learned one additional thing aside from that today as well. Okay, Nicole said, I used to use Silk Degrees as an anchor before applying my Vivids. Since they got rid of it, what would you use to replace Silk Degrees? Okay, I'm sure you're talking about the Prep and Treat, which was my personal favorite as well. I know. Whenever we get rid of something, Nicole, it's always because there's something really good on the horizon. Right now, what I'm still using is the last of my Silk Degrees. In terms of right before a Vivid service, to just stay within the brand, I would say that you should be able to get away with using any one of our conditioners from our new care line because they're all color safe. So they will all help to really give a good conditioning agent to the hair. I would personally reach for Repair Radiance to use in place of that for right now until we come out with something else. If you don't have that though, Hopefully all of you out there have the blue spray, the intense therapy leave-in treatment. That can also be used to help lock the color in, equalize the porosity, and give you a really nice base to work on. So if you can, shampoo the hair, brush it out, spray it down with the intense therapy leave-in treatment. It's the one that comes in the blue squirt bottle, and you want to make sure that you shake it up before you use it. This way it's, all melted together and all good to go. And that is what I would recommend in the meantime until we have something else to replace the soap degrees. But that's a great question. And if no one else has anything else, again, that's all I have. Thank you for being here with me today. Again, my Instagram handle is thegirl_with_purple hair. We have so many different types of educational classes throughout the year. We also have a ton of education on our website. If you are newer to Pravana or want to learn more about Pravana, we actually just a few weeks ago launched our entire brand new color class, or it's actually not just a class, it's an entire series that we just launched. You will see a very familiar face on there. It might be me all over it, but it's teaching you all the ins and outs, and it's totally free. And at the end of it, you are officially a Pravana color certified stylist, and you get a really nice certificate. So it's a totally free Pravana color certification that you do at your own pace, at your own time, and it's free 99. It's nothing but beautiful knowledge that you can take back with you behind the chair. So with that said, I appreciate all of you being here today. I hope you have a wonderful Monday and definitely enjoy the rest of your week. And I'm sure I'll see you all in future classes. Okay? Talk to you later. Bye-bye, everyone.